Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and this video is gonna be the start of a brand new series where I take a look at 5 awesome PC games that any PC can run. Now, when I say any PC can run, obviously it doesn't mean absolutely anything, but we're talking about the bottom of the barrel PCs with Intel integrated HD graphics, things like that. You don't have a high quality dedicated GPU, you might have a dual core CPU. These games can still probably run on your machine even if you're on a laptop. Now, with each of these games, I'm also going to go over the system requirements just to alleviate any worries because they are very low, and I'm 99.9% sure that as long as you're watching on a laptop or desktop, any device that you're watching on should be able to run these games. And if you guys enjoy this series, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll definitely continue to do this as like a weekly or bi-weekly series. So without further ado, let's get right into this. First up, we have Bastion, which is a great game from the guys over at Supermassive Games. These guys have become one of the most recognizable indie game studios today. Outside of Bastion, they also did Transistor, and earlier this year they released Meier. Bastion was their first game, and it is a terrific game with an amazing art style that's like a watercolor presentation. It's got a great soundtrack, awesome voice acting and narration, of course great storytelling as well, and it does have a decent amount of content to it. You can complete it in around 6 to 8 hours, so for an indie title, a smaller title, that's pretty good, and this is a game that I go back to and play through multiple times because it's that good. Retails for $15, but typically during a Steam sale you can find it 75% off for like $3.74. Bastion has been a part of Humble Bundles in the past as well, so if it shows up again, that's another way to acquire Bastion. A terrific game, highly recommended. And let's go over the system requirements for you guys too. So for operating system, you'll want to be running Windows XP Vista 7 or later. Processor wise, a 1.7 GHz dual core or greater, 2 GB of RAM, 1 GB of hard drive space, and the video card just 512 megs and DirectX 9 compatible. You'll be able to run this game on Intel HD if you're on like 3000 or 4000. Should be running pretty well.
Packing enough heat to remind the beast of the wild who's boss. Or even that shrine, in case the gods ain't dead. The Calamity gave us something else. A story.
Next up, we have Stardew Valley, another excellent game, and it revolves around a character who's inherited his grandfather's old farm plot in Stardew Valley. You're armed with hand-me-down tools and a few coins, and you set out to begin your new life. Can you learn to live off the land and turn these overgrown fields into a thriving home? That's straight off the Steam page. And this is another great game, and right away when you look at it, it's definitely got that old school style, so if you played games on like the Super Nintendo, this is gonna be right up your alley. And while in the conventional sense it's not the best looking game in the world, the aesthetic style just complements the game so well, so I think it's great. And if you're a fan of games like Harvest Moon, once again, gonna be right up your alley. Stardew Valley is filled with content, and it's a very engaging game that never really gets repetitive. To give you an idea of how well this game is received, recent reviews on Steam, that being 10,938 reviews, have this at 98% positive. It's also 97% positive overall with 68,000 reviews. That's one of the best reviewed games on Steam as far as the Steam user reviews go. And let's go over the system requirements, which will have you requiring Windows Vista or greater, a 2 GHz processor, 2 GB of RAM, 256 MB of video memory, shader model 3.0 plus, and 500 megs of available storage space. Moving right along to number 3, we have Civilization 5, one of the most iconic games on PC. This is a game that's not completely up my alley. If you guys know, I'm not a big fan of strategy games or sim games, but I get the appeal of Civilization, and I have friends that have clocked in over 1,000 hours on these games, and there's people that have clocked well over that, and these games just have endless upon endless amount of content. Even from somebody like me, I ended up playing the game for like 20 hours. I had a good time with it, and I can understand why so many people get so invested into the Civilization games. Civilization 6 is out, but that's a little bit more expensive, and Civ 5 super easy to run. It does go for $30, but over a Steam sale, you can usually find it for around $7.50. There's the complete edition available as well with a bunch of the expansion and DLC, and that is quality content, so maybe have a look at that as well. As far as the system requirements go, this is one of the higher end games, I guess, and I have the minimum and recommended requirements for you guys, so I'll go over both of them. On the minimum side, you're looking at an Intel Core 2 Duo 1.8 GHz or an AMD Athlon X2 64 2.0 GHz, 2 GB of RAM. For the graphics, they even specify that you can get by with Core i3 or better integrated graphics, so you have that. And you'll need 8 GB of free hard drive space. Recommended side, a 1.8 GHz quad-core CPU, 4 GB of RAM. Wow, so now we're hitting 4 GB of RAM. I think that's a first for these games. But yeah, a lot of you guys probably even have that. A 512 MB ATI 4800 series or a 512 MB NVIDIA 9800 series or better, very old GPUs. And then once again, to reiterate, hard drive space, you'll need 8 GB of free space.
Even hand and flourishing culture. Will you introduce great wonders to the world? Discover exciting new technologies? Will people talk of the greatness and glory of your cities for generations to come?
Next game, we have Rogue Legacy, which is a great and very challenging action game. If you've never played a roguelike game, these games are pretty challenging. Each time you die, somebody succeeds you, and the game is ongoing. You guys have probably played games like this, and Rogue Legacy is a very refined experience with a lot of replay value, and it's got a mix of 2D action platforming and roguelike gameplay design that complement each other very well. This is a game that retails for around $15, but it goes on sale all the time. Again, during the Steam sales, you can usually find it for $3.74, much like Bastion. And once again, with Rogue Legacy, it has been a part of Humble Bundles in the past, but nonetheless, even if you can't find it on that for like $1, $3.74 for this game, you're gonna get a lot of content for your money and a lot of playtime for your money, so it's definitely worth it. As far as Rogue Legacy system requirements, minimum requirements have you needing a 1.6 GHz processor, 1 GB of RAM, a 7900 GT or an X1950 Pro is minimum GPU requirement. Again, integrated graphics should be fine, and 400 megabytes of free hard drive space. On the recommended side, a 2 GHz CPU, 2 GB of RAM. GPU's getting a little high end. We're looking at an HD 4770 or an 8800 GTX, and once again, 400 megabytes of free hard drive space. And finally, the last game I have for you guys is an excellent RPG in Undertale. Undertale released back in September of 2015. It was developed by a single person, and around the time of its release, Undertale took the gaming world by storm. It's an exceptionally well-made RPG with a great old-school art design. Once again, this is a game that if you played old-school RPGs and games on like the Super Nintendo, you're gonna get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but this is a game that I think anybody can jump into and play. The Super Nintendo was not my first console, so that aesthetical style really doesn't appeal to me in a nostalgic way, but I played Undertale and I was absolutely absorbed by the experience. Thematically, it's one of the most interesting games you'll ever play, and it's got a lot of unique design choices that tell a great story, and it's a very interesting and somewhat dark story. Undertale goes for $10, and for that price, I would definitely say it's worth it. I believe during Steam sales, it usually goes for $5, and for that price, it's an absolute bargain. So that wraps up 5 awesome PC games that any PC can run. What do you think? Have you played any of these games? If not, you definitely should, because like I said, the machine you're watching this video on probably can run any of these games. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.